Once again, good morning everyone. So we will now have the second part of our discussion on the Positivist School of Criminology. So if we talk about the Positivist School of Criminology, we could have Dr. Cesar Lombroso as the leading figure. He's actually considered as the father of criminology. So influenced by Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, he integrated Comte's positivism, Darwin's theory of evolution, and other pioneering studies of the relationship of crime to the body. Now, with this study, Lombroso measured the physical features of prison inmates and concluded that criminal behavior correlated with specific bodily characteristics, particularly cranial, skeletal, and neurological malformations. So his book, Lomo Delinquent, or in English, The Criminal Man, changed the concept of free will with determinism. Take note, he develops this philosophy along with his followers Enrico Ferri and Raffaele Garofalo, which were called as Italian or Positivist School of Criminology. So we are lucky for having this existed during this time. It's because when you existed during the time of Lombroso, then physically you could be judged as a would-be criminal. So what is determinism? Determinism is the concept of defining a certain phenomena or phenomenon using specific factors that have contributed the variation of its consequences. So in deriving such, experts use scientific approach as its tool in finding out how it affect or cause a certain phenomena. So in criminology, as applied in criminology, criminology uses scientific methods in determining the causation of crimes. So that's actually the effect of the so-called determinism in the study. Now, what are the arguments of Lombroso with respect to his study? First, biology created a criminal class among human population. So remember, Lombroso, in his study, it's more of biological determinism. So he cited some biological characteristics as one of the causes or factors of criminality. So he emphasized the multiple causes of crime, including environmental causes that were not biologically determined. Take note of this. He also made mention or emphasized on the multiple causes of crime, which includes the environmental causes. So Lombroso pioneered the case study approach to criminology. So he classified criminals into different classifications. And one of his classification is the so-called the born criminal. So according to him, born criminal are serious offenders which inherited criminal traits. So these born criminals inherited the physical problems that impelled them into a life of a crime. So this is where the criminal anthropology could trace back its roots. What is this criminal anthropology? So these are early efforts to discover a biological basis of crime through the measurement of physical and the mental processes. So measurement of has something to do with the biological traits. So born criminals, according to him, suffer from atavistic anomalies. What is an atavistic or atavistic anomalies? He defined this one as the physical characteristics that distinguish born criminals from the general population. Now, he considered these people, the born criminals, as a throwback to animals or the primitive people. Remember, one of the bases of his study is the theory of evolution of Darwin. So that human, the origin of human or the ancestors of human are the apes or the animals. So born criminal, according to him, are the lower form of life, a drawback to their ape-like ancestors than to non-criminals in traits and disposition. So this type of individuals are distinguishable from non-criminals by various characteristics, which he called as atavistic stigmata. So what are these atavistic stigmata? This means the physical features of creators at an early stage of development before they became fully developed as humans. So meaning, these born criminals most likely, according to him, possesses the physical characteristics of its early ancestors, the apes. He insisted further that criminals have identifiable features such as huge jaws and strong canine teeth, a trait which is common to carnivores, used to tear and devour the meat raw. And take note of this, the arm span of a criminal, according to him, is greater than their height, just like apes, which uses their forearms to propel themselves along the ground. He further argued that if a person possesses with any five stigmata, as what he provided in his study, he could be considered as a born criminal. No? So, he also classified the so-called insane criminal and criminaloids. So, what is this insane criminals? So, according to him, insane criminal is not a criminal from birth, but later become one as a product of some changes in the brain, so which causes defect on his ability to distinguish right from wrong. Now, if we connect it to the present time, then probably we could say that the so-called insane criminal developed mental disorder. So he could not appreciate the consequences of his action. Another classification of Lombroso is the so-called criminaloids, which he defined as habitual criminals or those criminals by passion and other diverse type. These are just few of the classification of Lombroso with regards to criminals. Another personality in the positivist school is Enrico Ferri. So he was a student of Lombroso. Take note, he partly agreed with the biological determinants as basis for criminal behavior, but he believed on the importance of the social, the economic, and the political determinants as a factor why people commit crimes. Now, take note of this. If we talk about Enrico Ferri, there is what we call he believed on the social. So when we say social, we are talking about the environment, the economic, so that has something to do with the financial status of a person, and of course, the political determinants. That includes the stability of the place where the person is living as the factor or as factors of why people commit crimes. He argued on the classical doctrine. He does not believe on free will. Rather, he believed that criminals should be held morally liable for crimes because they must have applied rational decision in the commission of crimes. So further, he claimed that criminals could not be held morally responsible because they did not choose to commit crimes, but instead, certain condition causes them to commit it. So the second part of this, you might be wondering, because it has the same premise, yet if you look at the second part of it, that they did not choose to commit crimes, they should not be held morally responsible. We are actually talking probably of those people who are insane, the insane criminals. They do not appreciate the consequences of their actions. So he further argued that the society needed a criminal law and a penal policy in order to protect itself from the criminals. That in order for the society to reduce crime and live together with less dependent on the penal laws, there is what we call the strict adherence to the scientific methods designed to prevent crimes must be observed. So that is in order to bring out really the causes in order to prevent crime. No? Another personality, prominent personality with regards to the positivist school is Raffaele Garofalo, or other people read it as Rafael Garofalo. So like Lombroso and Ferri, he was also one of those people who renounces the doctrine of free will. So he renounces the doctrine of free will, and he supported the position that crimes could be understood with the utilization of scientific methods. No? So there is what we call an agreement among the three of the utilization of the so-called scientific methodology with respect to dealings on crime causation. No? So studying Lombroso's theory of atavistic stigmata, he found insufficient to explain criminal behavior. No? Rather, he linked criminal behavior not to physical features as what Lombroso said and agreed by Ferri, but on psychological equivalence, which he called as moral anomalies. So what are these moral anomalies? According to him, natural crimes are found in all human societies, regardless of its views, and no civilized societies can afford to disregard them. So what are the key assumptions of the positivist school? First, human behavior is determined and not a matter of free will. Secondly, criminals are fundamentally different from non-criminals. Third, social scientists can be objective in their work. Fourth, crime is caused by multiple factors, such as biological, psychological, and sociological. Lastly, society is based on the consensus but not on a social contract. Now, we will talk about the first part. Human behavior is determined and not a matter of free will. Remember, the positivist school, particularly Lombroso, he cited some biological characteristics as one of the indicators of a possibility that a person might commit crimes. That is one. No? Secondly, criminals are fundamentally different from non-criminals. Remember in their arguments, especially for biological theories, for Lombroso and Ferri, that there are criminals possess certain stigmata which is not present to non-criminals or to the general population. Thirdly, social scientists can be objective in their work. Remember the three key personalities of the positivist school all agreed on one thing. No? Scientific methodology applied to the study of crime causation. Meaning, objectivity means the study should be based on facts. Scientific. No? Number four is crime is caused by multiple factors. So there is what we call multiple factors, not just by one sole factor, but there are biological reasons. As we discussed in part 1, there are, if we talk about the biological factors, we have of course defects which have caused to develop the so-called inferiority, or in some it also there are traits of a person which he deems it higher to other people, which then he develops superiority. Then we also have psychological, so that we could possibly uh, explain the so-called the mental deficiency or the mental disorder as one of the reasons why a person commit crimes. And of course, the sociological aspect. So we're talking about the very environment, all the influences that is present in the environment, which could have caused a person to commit crimes. And by the way, with regards to the positivism, they also talks about the economic factor as one of the causes, no, causes of a person to commit crime. So one of the reasons of the economic factor is poverty. No? So poverty, by reason of poverty, they could not afford the life that they wanted. So they cut short they committed crime in order for them to reach their goals in life. And of course, lastly, society is based on the consensus but not on social conduct. Now, if we talk about consensus, we are actually talking about agreements. Diba? As part of the prevention methods that they discuss is the creation of a criminal law and a penal policies. So there should be the criminal law and the penal policies are actually a product of an agreement among members of the society.